Welcome back to the Sound for More channel. It's Leo speaking. Today we are going to have a look at BA-1 from Baby Audio. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe, as it helps with growing the channel. Thank you very much. Additionally, if you would like to participate in the giveaway, please do check the instruction in the video description and remember to claim your code as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do this time is to go through BA-1, which is based on the Yamaha CS01 synth from the 80s. And I'm going to give you a demonstration creating a little bit of a beat using a lot of the bud ups from Jam OK. And in so doing, we are going to explore some of the presets, and also at the end of the tutorial, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of the interface and controls as well, which I think are quite simple. Okay, let's start creating a MIDI channel inside the AUM. And I should say also that the reason I'm using AUM instead of Logic Pro is because I find that the combination of Logic Pro at the moment for iPad with BA-1 is a little bit too heavy, and I've seen a lot of time BA-1 inside Logic Pro actually crashing. So I think it is better for the purposes of this tutorial to actually use AUM. Okay, so let's create the first audio channel and let's load BA-1. Okay, and there it is. As you open it, it is really a nice synth. It has a unique sound, really, really nice. Really, really nice. But let's explore it going through the creation of this bit. So let's start adding a chord bud, and the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to create a chord progression, and we are not going to create anything special. We're going to select a C minor and E flat major, an F minor, and then a G minor, and that will loop constantly. Okay. Now, the first audio track, I want it to be a bass. So you click here on the presets and you can go to bass. As you can see, there are a lot of different presets. It's really, really nice. Look, you have a lot of choices here. You can spend a lot of time. Okay, and to create the bass, let's now bring Arpeggiator, like so. And connect the two so that Arpeggiator is actually, the input here is driven by chord bud 2. Okay, and now let's connect the first audio channel, the first BA-1 instance where we have a bass to actually that instance of Arpeggiator. Okay, let's play. And now let's explore some of the presets, so until we find something that sounds really nice as a bass. As you move between different presets with the arrow here, but you can select them directly as well in that view, you might want to adjust the final output here in terms of gain. Sometimes it actually is too high as a pitch. You have a clipping that will show up here in AUM. Okay, it's also nice to see the representation. If I bring up the AUM keyboard, the representation of the waveform, they're really, really nice. You find the button here that allows you to regenerate a preset, which is really nice. But anyway, let's continue. Okay, that's nice. Now let's create another audio channel, and let's select again BA-1 from Baby Audio. Okay. Now, this time I would like this audio source to be a pad. So we are going to connect it to chord pad 2, which is already playing chords. And we are going to open it up and select from the pads category something that we like. So as you've seen, I just had to decrease the output. It was really too high. And something that you might want to do is to enable the chorus here if it's not enabled, and then you can adjust your reverb here in terms of amount and also length of that reverb. You can see that you have other effects like the delay. Here you can select the amount, the length, and if it is in sync with the host. And as well, you have the drive here with circuit band, which is the emulation or a traditional drive pedal, and here you have the amount. And then you can adjust also the tone. You can make it darker or brighter. So for example, if we go back to the first bass, so you can hear the difference in tone, right? But let's choose another preset for the bass. Okay, next what we would like to do, or what I would like to do, is to create a different pattern here which I can switch. So I'm going to move to a second pattern here. I'm going to octave, and I'm going to increase the octave alternating here, not there. Okay, like so, every step. So it sounds like an Italo disco bass. And as you can hear, it's better to change the preset. You can hear there is a glissando effect here, which you can apply. It is applied in several presets, particularly on basses. Okay, but let's continue to search a different type of bass. As you can see, you have also the ability to do frequency modulation. You have an FM oscillator here, which you can use in conjunction with oscillator number 1. You can see there are 2 oscillators. Each oscillator, for each oscillator, you can adjust the pitch, the octave up and down, and then you can adjust the spread here for if you have pulse with modulation, and you have different type of waveforms there. And that is the same for both oscillator, with an option also to do crossfade between the 2 of them. Really nice. I like this nice synth bass, so let's select a different now preset for the pad. This is an interesting example. I chose it to show you that you have sidechain here, okay, which can be pre or post filter as well, and you can also route it to be internal and external. So it's quite nice that you can hear it as a pulsating pad. Okay, let's continue. So let's create now another additional audio channel, and as you can see, it's working pretty well. Let's choose again the same synth. Now, next, what we are going to do is create a bit of an arpeggio. Okay, so we are going to select again Arp Bud 2. There it is. We are going to connect it to chord Bud 2 so that it follows the same chord progression. Okay, and then we're going to connect it to that third instance of like so of BA-1. So let's open it up and let's change the category now. Let's go for something like plucks and arps, and there are different ones. So let's choose create a pattern really. And actually what I'm going to do in this first pattern number 1, I'm going to remove all the steps, because I don't want any of the step in pattern number 1, but on pattern number 2, I leave the steps, and now I'm going to create a pattern like so. The first note of the chord, the third, the second, the third again, perhaps the second, the third again, like so. And let's click play and then change some of the presets here. One thing that I find on BA-1 is that the reverb is not as powerful as it could be. So sometimes I tend to add an additional reverb as an insert effects inside AUM. Like this one, so I'm going to keep it. Okay, perfect. Now let's add some drums. So let's use Hammerhead, which is one of my favorite drum machine. Let's open it up. Let's choose a preset which I like this beach party. Let's disable now the sequencer. Okay. Then next, what we are going to do is to call for another bud up, another fantastic bud up, and this one is going to be melody bud, and we're going to connect that directly to that instance of Hammerhead, like so. The note is the wrong one because it's triggering the wrong drum kit piece. Okay, so what we are going to do is, first of all, go to settings, go to scale, and let's select a chromatic scale. So we ensure that we have available all notes. Again, it will sound still the same. Now let's go to octave, okay, and change the octave. We are clipping here, so let's decrease the volume here on Hammerhead. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to create another instance of melody bud, like so, and I'm going to connect exactly the same to hammerhead, like so. Now I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to create a different pattern, okay? And I'm going to create that on pattern number 2, because I want to be able to switch from not having a snare drum and having a snare drum play. So that is why I'm going to do it on pattern number 2. Again, I'm going to select a chromatic scale so that I have access to all the notes I need to trigger the right notes. Okay, so let's try. Okay, so let's try again. You can hear now that our pad is actually not triggering, right? And let's check. We are on pattern number 2. Sometimes this happens, and if it happens, trying to reconnect chord pad 2 like so. Changing the pattern, as you can see, sometimes that happens, okay? Now, let's add pattern. Let's actually choose a different bud, like so. And let's choose, pattern bud, yeah. Okay, so in pattern bud, what we are going to do, we're going to issue different MIDI messages against the other buds up so that they can switch from the first pattern to the second pattern, okay? So we're going to delete, first of all, these 2, we don't need it, click and hold, delete, click and hold, here and delete. These are okay, but let's ensure that instead of, well, the first one maybe we leave it for 4 bars, and the second one maybe we make it slightly longer, and I will explain why in a moment. And then what we are going to do, we are going to, connect pattern bud to melody here. This melody up instance so that we have the switching to enable the snare drum, and then we are going to go up here, and we're going to do the same for the bass, and also for that arpeggio, like so. Okay, so let's try. That on these first 4 bars, you don't have the arpeggio on, you have a different bass, so it's no arpeggiati up and down with an octave. Also, the snares are actually not playing as well. Now, let's create another instance of BA-1, okay? So, like so. And why not? Let's leave that default preset, which is really, really nice. This one, this analog brass. Every time you open BA-1, it is really nice to see it and to hear it. And you know, you can also change the schemes here, the skin color as well, which is really useful. You can click up here to save the preset if you wish so. You can set velocity on and off here. Here you can make it polyphonic or monophonic as well, and here you can reset. Okay, and as you've seen here, you have a filter and you have the usual control for cutoff, resonance, the envelope as well, and the key track if you have it on and off. And you have an envelope here as well, so you can have sync on and off, and then you have your attack, decay, release, and sustain, so your ADSR, okay? And then finally here you have an LFO. You can sync it, of course. You can have the when it's here at the bottom, you can change it like so. Sorry, this is the sync, right? Sorry, the filter. You can target the oscillator 1, or you can target, for example, a filter, and here you have the amount, okay? So, well, let's leave this preset as it is. And now let's go to the bud up, and let's choose something like polybud instead. And let's connect polybud to this brass sound, which is really, really nice. And what we are going to do then is open polybud, and we are going to go to random, and we choose some random, something like that. So we randomize the notes, and we ensure also that as a scale, to fit in with all the chords that we have selected, let's go and choose perhaps a pentatonic minor. Okay, let's click play. Mistake here. I've selected the notes here instead of the random, so that I need to repeat that process like so. Okay, and perhaps here we set the note to be at this high by default, okay, around C4, and now you will hear a variability. Sometime you have things like that, so just reload BA-1 and like so, and reconnect it to polybud like so. It happens particularly when you add a lot of different instances, okay? Now, I noticed that the melody was too low, so let's go to settings here, and where it says minimal octave, let's increase that to 3, and let's try again. Of course, for example, what you could also do now is go to polybud and copy this pattern like so, and paste it on the second one like so. Then go to the first one, and here you have different ways to mute this. You can't now remove the steps, but what you can do is set, for example, the velocity down to 0, so that when it moves to the second pattern, that melody through that analog brass will start to play. Of course, if you connect it to pattern bud, which will make the switch. so on and so forth. So for example, now you could add another melody bud instance to create, for example, hi-hats, and you can have that in combination with close and open hi-hats. So you can create a different type of course, beats as you prefer. BA-1 is actually a really nice synth in terms of reproducing that feeling from that feel, that sound from the 80s is absolutely right, really nice, really stunning as a synth. And it works quite nicely. If you reset, of course, you can play with the different controls, right? As the pitch, as I was mentioning, the octave. Different waveforms. Pulse width modulation, and then the spread. And then you can crossfade between the two. Or you can add FM here on the oscillator 1. Filter. And why not? And let's go. So as you can see, it changes that. Here you can have it in sync. Where you see that dot, you can click on the dot to change the setting, and also here on the routine for the sidechain. You can also enable that lo-fi type of sound that is done in the old original hardware when you have speakers on. Okay, so here you can decide to, of course, preserve your battery as well, which is really nice. But let's again choose different brass to hear the sound. You can hear now the LFO acting on the filter. Let's go to synth and drones. Really nice. One of the things that I wish it had is an Arpeggiator, which I also mentioned to Baby Audio. It would be nice if it did, but I suppose they wanted to keep the synth simple, and they spent more time on ensuring that the emulation was more accurate, so that it gives you the sound that you really want. So nice now here, adding that touch of drive is really nice. And you can still change your tone here. Let me show you the regeneration here. It will regenerate and practically randomize the settings, so you have a new preset, so you can have a lot of fun. Nice, the ADSR works really, really nicely. Big difference with chorus on, and let's bump it up with more reverb as well. There is a bit of delay in this case, but it is very minimal, so let's add that. Nice. Really, really nice. I'm sure you can have a lot of fun with drones type of sounds and preset. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I hope you enjoyed the demonstration and a little bit of a tutorial on creating a bit using different instances of BA-1 from Baby Audio. As you can see, we had some hiccups as we were creating the bit. That happens when you have a lot of instances inside AUM, but there's always a way to, of course, to get around them. And then, of course, if you worked and created a bit like so, please don't remember to save it. Otherwise, you lose everything. Okay, see you next time. Bye.